excited to be here. While I'm getting started here, just everybody pop in the chat why you're excited to be here today. I know a lot of familiar faces, but just tell me, what is it about today that excites you? For me personally, it's just about the fear content. Because how many of you struggle with fear? I struggle with fear. So, so Kenston is going to challenge us today. So I'm a little scared because, you know, once you hear something, you're held accountable to it. And sometimes I just don't want to be. So there we go. So I'm excited about hearing what he has to say. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everyone. And as you all know, this is Noble. We are a network. And if you can't see it, just let me know. If you can, give me a thumbs up. Let's see, there we go, a network of owners, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. So that's you. That's why we're here today. And we focus definitely on 4 aspects of building communities for connection. So we have now Noble Knowledge, which is why we come together to learn more and expand our capacity. Noble Growth is for us to develop, right? And for us to develop others, raising leaders in the marketplace, and then abundance, not just here, but across the world and in every sphere of influence. It's about our gifts, our talents, and how God wants to blow on them to expand our reach upon the face of the earth, because that's how the world is going to be changed. So welcome once again to the Noble Forum. I'm excited to be here with you all. Just some housekeeping things as we always go over. If you're not on video, please turn on your video, because this is how we get to see each other's faces. It's very engaging, and also just helps us to be able to share with others what we're doing as a multicultural global community as we are. So we are recording today's session. If you're not okay with that, just let us know, pop it in the chat in a personal message. But we do like to record these sessions to make sure they're sent out to all of those that connect in our network. And then please turn off all distractions. I mean, I'm in Jamaica right now and I'm not looking outside. I refuse to look outside. So I'm turning off all distractions. And then we'll be here together till about 12:30. And we just want to stay together till the end, so that way we have some time to connect and really ponder and go over the things that that we learned from today. So we're going to start there. And having said that, I want to get started in introducing Kenston. And this is his wonderful face here, and you see him on the screen as well. All right, let me open up my screen, my other screen. All right, now Kenston, I really am excited to introduce him because he is also a friend of mine, and his wife is one of my really good friends. And so we're going to introduce him today, but I want to look in the chat and see what you guys said. Chad said he loves hearing what Kenston shares. Awesome. So excited for this topic. Me too, Megan. Been looking forward to this one for some time. Excited to get new perspective, learning more about how to overcome fear. Yeah, that's me, Jeff. And you could always use a little bit more motivation. All right, so if you guys are ready, just type ready in the chat, and then we're gonna get going, because I'm gonna share about Kenston, who he is, and we're gonna jump right in. So Kenston actually is known as the game changer, which is what I love. He goes into spaces, and I'm gonna bounce between his bio and just talking about him, but he actually goes into spaces and has the ability to transform the minds and the atmosphere of that space. Let me say, he transforms the atmosphere and helps people to begin to think differently about the work that they're doing. And so today, I really do believe that there is an aspect of an open heaven here for us to be able to think about what we do differently and to actually conquer things. So Kenston is a transformative leadership speaker, trainer, and author, dedicating to igniting, inspiring, and empowering individuals and organizations. Kenston is a seasoned leadership speaker. Oops, I read that twice. Okay, he is the founder and CEO of LiveWithLyfe, LLC, a talent development company. So that's a little plug if you guys need anything right there. A talent development company where he leverages his 20+ years of experience in human resources to deliver transformative presentations and training sessions. He is a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker and a TEDx signature speaker. Kenston has delivered hundreds of presentations across 35 states and extended his impact internationally, reaching audiences in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and South America. Come on, let's put up some claps for that. I didn't even know all that. That's awesome. His expertise is further solidified by his authored books, Winning Conversations, How to Communicate Successfully and Courageously About Race, and Parenting Like a Boss, Intentionally Committed. He created an online course called Cultural Transformation in the Workplace, the 7 keys to create and cultivate racial equity, further demonstrating his commitment to fostering inclusive and equitable environments. Kenston lives by the quote, if you're doing life alone, LYFE, alone, you're doing it all wrong. Reflecting his belief in the power of community and collaboration, his goal is to ignite, inspire, and empower the champion inside each individual, driving personal and professional growth. If you guys are excited to hear from Kenston today, just put in the chat, I'm excited, and let's get going. Kenston!
Hey.
Listen, I wasn't ready for your whole bio there. It was a mouthful. You done a little bit of things.
Listen, I wasn't ready either. I was like, couple points. I should have gave you the shorter version.
Listen, that's okay. No, I learned some things, and actually, I love the first book, Winning Conversations: How to Communicate Successfully and Courageously About Race. So I definitely have to pick that one up. I don't have that one yet. So yeah, so tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got into where you are today. Let's just start there.
So as you read my whole bio, that's how I got there. No, really, at this point in my life, I refer to my parents. It started off as my parents. My dad was a preacher and teacher. Mom, same thing, teacher. And so I was always around a lot of inspiration, motivation. Growing up in church, I called myself a pew baby, but I was always around so much motivation. And so I knew I wanted to be a teacher. However, I did not want to teach students just because my dad would come home with those horror stories of teaching the students. And so I was like, I don't want to do that. And so when I went to Ohio State, I was like, okay, let's find something else. And so I went into corporate training and development. And so adult education. And so that's where I started my journey going into HR, which is the people business. And I found a passion and a love for training, equipping people with the necessary tools to be effective and even more amazing. And so, even during my journey in my career, my first 13 years weren't in what I went to school for. And so it had all to do with benefits administration, HRIS systems, and it wasn't training and development. And so there's a story in all of that into how I got to here. But it helped propel me, and it helps me even today in my business when I'm engaging with other leaders and teams to be able to help them, communicate more effectively. I say everything is a part of the journey. We just have to see the brighter side of things. But I'm here, moving and grooving. I am full-time as an entrepreneur since January 1. I started my business in 2016. However, I had a part-time role within the city of Columbus, said, we need you to come on full-time. And it was the most amazing position that they created. I felt it was just for me. And I was like, this is the dream job. But COVID happened, and the urge to say, you know what, I think it's time for you to really start your business back. And that just boomed during COVID. And from then on, I was like, I can't handle both. And so God provided. And so I've been in business on my own for almost a year now. So
you kind of got kicked out there a little bit.
Yeah. when it worked out.
Happened. Yeah, it worked out for you.
Yeah, so I was I was still working with the city of Columbus full time, but the need came through once my TEDx was released, and that's how the Winning Conversations book got created. Was based on my TEDx talk called "Can We Talk," and so really how to help people have conversations that are not spooky about race and about anything in general. And so that's kind of, and so I started getting calls, and I started getting, hits on my website, and it was just like, it's too much. And so after much prayer and fighting through this thing on my shirt, that I pushed forward to get to this point today.
Well, something that you said was that, like, for the first 13 years, you didn't even do, and guys, this is what we're going to do there. We're going to have a conversation with Kenston. We're going to kind of pick his brain. So if you have questions, I want you to write them in the chat. Megan is watching the chat. I want you to write them down. There'll be an opportunity because we want to pick his brain today. Because how many know entrepreneurship is scary? That we talk about that almost every time, right? It's actually something we have to step out on. So for the first 13 years, you didn't do what you went to school for. But I love how you said it's all part of the journey. I know I can look back over my life. I'm like, why the heck did I do this? Why the heck did I do that? And then it may not be till years later you see how things were stepping stones. You talked about your family, your parents, them being inspiration, but also when the opportunity came up, it was almost like this Kairos moment that it was like either you're going to step into it and conquer fear, or you're going to be like, you're just going to stay in the safe place. So tell me a little bit, because I know you're a man of faith and you really, walk that out with the Lord. How did you decide that, this is the best decision for where I'm going? And what were those puzzle pieces that kind of brought it all together?
Yeah, so even going back into that 13-year journey, because as I said, there's a story in that 13-year journey of why am I not in the place that I want to be? How can I get in the place where I want to be? I'm now pigeonholed in a certain area of HR, not the area that I want to be. And so it was in those 13 years where I had to continue to take action steps towards where I am to today. And that looked like volunteering at my job. I wasn't getting paid for those additional roles, but I would volunteer to position me to be a training and development professional.
Wow.
I also had to go to networking events. So I started building relationships. I also started joining, let's say I had a mentor, joining other different clubs like on LinkedIn to make sure that I was still staying current in the knowledge of where I wanted to go. And, those were sometimes uneasy steps because I'm like, I have my own full-time job. I got to do something extra, but I had my eyes on the prize, and I kept going. But a couple confirmations happened and one of the jobs I was doing benefits, and I was doing education sessions. So anybody ever sat through an open enrollment session or a benefit session before? Like, how boring is that, right? And so, but I will always get, evaluation feedbacks like, Kenston, how did you make benefits so fun? Like, how did you make me learn about benefits? And it was then that I kept getting confirmation after confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so that helped me along my 13-year journey before I launched into my own business. And, it just said that this is where you're supposed to be. This is where you need to go. And next thing you know, I started booking, I booked my ticket to be joining John Maxwell Leadership Academy. And that's where I met so many amazing people from around the world. So I got that certification. I got my LLC while I was still in that job. But I was planning on the exit strategy. I was planning to launch my business and not knowing that, after I got my certification, after I got my business license, that I was going to be in an office where someone was talking to me about a severance package. Now, that morning, I was driving to work and I just felt the peace. I felt the peace of God that says, I don't know what's about to happen today, but something's happening, and here we go. And so in that meeting,
so you felt it. You felt it coming on.
I felt it.
Okay.
I felt it before it happened. And so it was like God was getting me ready. I was getting ready, taking the steps. And then when that conversation happened, it was like, okay. Wasn't mad, wasn't sad, wasn't angry, wasn't frustrated. It was like, it's time. And that's when my business started, right? In 2016. And that severance package, it just helped pay to start the business. And so I had everything that I need with that to start my business. So,
Wow. So I love how you said that, like you had this piece. So how important is it, because I have a lot of friends and individuals and different, groups that I connect with. And everybody is an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I know Chaz can talk about this a lot, like, how entrepreneurs are and how scattered we can be sometimes. So it's very important that we're hearing from the Lord as believers, right? That we're hearing from the Lord, but also that we have that sense of peace so that we're moving in wisdom, because you had already started making the steps. You didn't know how it was going to play out. So can you speak to the importance of even doing those practical things before everything lines up? What were some of those things that you did? Did you get a website? Did you, what did you do?
Yeah, so I called up a couple friends that were a graphic designer, that was a website creator, and I started taking those steps. And so even as I got my license, as I got my certification, I was doing those things. I was taking the necessary steps. A part of that journey was connecting with like-minded people, meaning people who were already entrepreneurs or small business owners. And so that helped. Creating that support system helped me as I started to take on that journey. So I wasn't doing it alone. And so that goes back to my quote that I use for life is, if you're doing life alone, you're doing it all wrong. And I'll say this for entrepreneurship. If you're doing entrepreneurship alone, you're doing it all wrong, because you're going to face so many types of barriers that seem impossible. You're going to be facing so many types of tests that is going to cause you to have that little fear. And so having the right people around you is going to help lessen that fear, that anxiety, and help you keep moving forward when you hit those barriers. So,
and when you said connecting with the right people, this isn't just people that are going to tell you everything is good. Just do everything right. This is even people that are going to say, hey, you might need to tweak this. You're probably doing this wrong. You're probably, actually helping us to grow. And so, like, I know that you help other people do that. Noble is very good with that, being able to pull out the kinks. It's good to have those type of people in your community, right?
Yes. Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so important.
So speaking of all that, you had this long journey. Now talk to us a little bit about this fear thing. You're wearing the t-shirt, you got the t-shirt, the bumper sticker, all those things. So tell us a little bit about where you came up with this acronym. How does it apply to your own life journey, and why do you use this to help entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So I'll give you a little backstory on this. But before I do, I want everyone to write down, what is that action that you need to take that there is some fear attached to it. I want you to write that down and even put it in the chat for accountability purposes. Like, what is it? What is that action you're supposed to take, but you're putting it off. You're being hesitant with it. What is it? Because we got to move you from that space, because we got places to go, people to see, and lives to impact. That's what I live by. Somebody is waiting on you to take that next step. So I wonder what it is, so that way we can move forward. And I truly believe everybody in this session has a testimony to tell about how they faced fear. And funny enough, this actually started when I was 17 years old, where y'all gonna laugh at me. You can laugh at me. I'm okay with it. But me and my friend, we went to Cedar Point. I know everybody familiar with Cedar Point, the amusement park. And we went with some females, and it was like a date. Okay, it was a date. Don't laugh at me.
Okay.
And so we was like, hey, we got to get on the biggest roller coaster there. Now, I didn't care for roller coasters then, and quite frankly, I was pretty frightened of them. And so the girls that we were with, they challenged us. They said, hey, let's go on the Magnum. The Magnum was the biggest one at that time. And so we was like, yeah, let's do it. And not knowing inside, I'm really afraid, like, oh, are we really about to do this? And so getting in that long line, y'all know how the lines are long. We went through the whole line, got on the roller coaster. I'm really scared. I'm really like, should I just back out of this? But then we get in our seats. Why did the young ladies we were with, they got off on the other side? They didn't even get on the roller coaster. I'm strapped in. Me and my friend strapped in. We was like, oh my God, this. And that thing took off.
Shady.
I was yelling, probably screaming. But by the time we got off that roller coaster, can you say transformation took place in full effect
Wow.
where I wanted to ride every roller coaster in the park. Like it just ignited something in me to the point where I was
Wow.
like, oh, I'm a roller coaster junkie now. But that was
Wow.
a small fear that I faced, and which led me to this whole notion of face everything and rise. And so me and my friend, we have this thing where we're gonna face it and we're gonna rise to the occasion. And so,
Wow.
after getting off the roller coaster, of course, the girls are laughing at us because they thought they did something by leaving us, but it really
Mm-hmm.
ignited something for me
Mm.
to that's now I use in life in
Wow.
everything that I do,
Wow.
especially as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
because as an entrepreneur, every step that we take, it's going to be some level of discomfort, especially if we
Mm.
haven't done it before.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that I hesitated the most on when starting this journey was picking up the phone and calling people about my business. I I
Mm.
I hesitated for so long because I had the experience of being in the office and that salesperson calls and says, "Hey, can you spend a few moments with me to talk about such and such and such?" And so I said, uh, please hold and send them to someone else. So now I'm that person who's calling
Mm-hmm.
to say, hey, do you have a few minutes
Yes.
to talk about how I can make your business better, right? And so that was a small fear that
Mm-hmm.
I was making up stories about. What if they say no? What if they say, what if they hang up on me?
Mm-hmm.
What if a rejection? What is that thing that kept me from doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I say fear is false evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the thing that you
Wow.
wrote down, is it false evidence appearing real?
Wow.
Because if it
Yeah.
is, it's time to face everything and rise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
That's good. No, go for
because
it.
here's
Go.
a
Go.
yeah. So I see people, they go in between Lily, they go in between three different categories as entrepreneurs: comfort, curiosity, and the last one I call game changer. You see, comfort is where it's all about you. It's comfortable. It's I'm not taking any steps forward. I'm just going to stay where I'm at. And so wherever you are in your leader or in your entrepreneurship journey, you're fine with where you are because it's comfortable. You see, we got into entrepreneurship, or you're a small business owner or a business owner, you wanted to disrupt your comfort zone. That is the only way we're going to grow and continue to scale our businesses,
Yeah.
is if we disrupt our comfort zone. And so game changer, my definition of game changer, I don't know if you heard it before, but it's a person who significantly impacts a situation, a circumstance, and raises the level of skill and awareness
Mm-hmm.
around them. And so I
Mm-hmm.
believe that all of us on this session is a game changer. And I
Mm-hmm.
carry that
Mm-hmm.
message forward because we're not choosing to stay comfortable. We're choosing to really move in that discomfort space.
Yeah.
Because after a while, we have an understanding that it's not going to be uncomfortable for a long time. I
Yeah.
remember Chaz shared the story. Go ahead. You got something?
I was gonna say just
Let's
say that definition again and then pop over to what you're gonna say about
yeah.
Chaz, the definition.
So the game changer is a person that significantly impacts a situation or a circumstance and raises the level of skill and awareness in the people around them. And so when I think about who's a game changer, I think about LeBron James, right? We all know LeBron James. He changed the game before he even stepped out of high school.
Yeah.
When he got to Cleveland and became a Cleveland Cavalier, he already started to transform Cleveland's downtown area. They said millions poured in about a 1.5 mile around the whole stadium. because of his presence. The NBA changed because of him being there. His team transformed into a championship caliber team because he came. And so I believe everyone on this call is that type of game changer. And we can be, as long as we do the things necessary to disrupt our comfort zones. And I know for a fact, because Chaz told the story, that he disrupted his own comfort zone not that long ago with the business adventure that he did. But he had to do something in order for him to disrupt the comfort zone.
Yeah.
He had to
Yeah.
take action. And I believe, it's the face everything and rise, but it's faith everything and rise.
Mm.
What is your
Mm.
faith level? You see, because faith without works is dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If we don't do anything, we can believe our business is going to grow all day long.
Yeah.
But if we're not taking any actions in order to make it grow, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's just going to sit there.
So tell me, Kenston,
Uh,
how, because you're really hitting on some things in regards to, us conquering the space. How do entrepreneurs overcome these challenges? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
we find ourselves hit these walls. Like what do we do? What has helped you to just continue? What challenges have you faced, and what has continued to
Listen.
help you bounce back? Because you have a family. You didn't just step out and be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur as a single adult. I'm just taking on the word. You
Yeah.
had you have a family, and you
Yeah.
know you're not. It's not just you. So tell us people overcome. What are some of those challenges that you are at, and those obstacles that you face?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just start even with just this year. My goal was to get certified in everything I can get certified in as it relates to um, small businesses. So the MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, the National
Mm-hmm.
MBE, the uh, uh, what is that? I don't know. It's the SBE
Small
certifications.
business.
All these certifications that DBS. It was so many, but each of those had their own challenges. All of them are daunting. Tons of paperwork, tons of documents, collecting them, and I was over it. Like it was February 1st. I was over filling out all those different processes. Then I would get the responses back to say, hey, we need something else. Hey, we need something else. Or we need something else. And so those are all tasks where I'm like, do I really need this certification? I know I had moments of, do I really need this? Is it going to help my business grow? Is it going to help my business thrive? Am I going to get more business because of this? Because this is taking a lot of time, like
Mm-hmm.
away from family. And so I was working in the wee night hours of filling out these different certifications. And so to push through it, I have my brother is one of my best friends. And so he was like, Kenston, remember the goal. Keep remembering the goal, and you're going to keep making it through, right? And so I would chunk it. Instead of trying doing everything at one time, I would only spend 30 minutes on the task. Then I'll switch to something else so that way I can stay fresh in my mind while I'm doing this work.
Yeah. Well, you just hit something right there, because I think as entrepreneurs, we do that. Like we try and tackle everything all at
Mm-hmm.
once. I know I have that problem. Like I'd rather work till 3 in the morning than just
Yeah.
go to bed and be like, I'll hit
Yeah.
this in the morning. I'm like, let me just push, push, push. So in that though, you saw that you needed to actually break it up. How important is that to not just break it up, but celebrate those small wins? Because I'm
Oh
sure that
man.
that felt good when you started to see yourself accomplish things.
Yes. And that was the whole purpose of breaking it up into smaller chunks, right? They say don't how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Is one thing at a time, so that way you don't get overwhelmed and then to the point where you give up, right? Because like I said, I had that chatter in my mind of saying, man, do I really need this? And so if I would have listened to that inner voice, then I wouldn't have, you know, gotten everything accomplished. And so but so again, it goes back to setting goals, and we're talking about that just yet, but setting goals, having the right people around you, and really, staying focused on where you're trying to go to, or where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, that's good. I want to pause and I want to break right here. I want each one of us that's on the line say, think of something, if you could, pick Kenston's brain about one thing maybe today, I want you to go ahead and jot it down. And I want us to pop it in the chat because I believe we're going to have a couple moments here where we can touch some of those things. What are some of those things that are really burning on you that you want to, maybe it's just a question that you have, something that he has overcome. I mean, he's done the TEDx talk and the John Maxwell thing, and it may be, well, how important are those things? You may have something that you just want to ask him. And so I want you to write it down because I want us to have some dialogue with this as well, because fear is really, how can I say, it's crippling, and so if we don't face everything and rise, and that means even face everything and rise, and that means even the things that like the small things of filling out applications for certain things, if we don't do that, then we actually can cripple ourselves and hinder ourselves from growth. Wouldn't you agree, Kenston?
I agree totally. And that's the thing. And that's why we have to change it differently in our mind. Because again, if we just say that, so how many have ever not done something without knowing what the result could be or would be? How many have not done something because of the small fear that you had, right? Some level of anxiety took place that stopped you from pursuing something or taking that next step, and you didn't even know what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah.
And there we can even talk about limiting beliefs. What limiting beliefs that you need to rid yourself of? Like if you ever said that's not going to work, that's a limiting belief. Or somebody else tried it and it didn't work, so I might as well not try it. That's that comfort zone.
Yeah. So if you have I see some of you writing and I'm sure you're trying to process some things. I want to pop those in the chat in just a minute here. And right after this question. So is that the link right there for the TEDx?
Yeah, they can find it on my website.
Okay, perfect. Okay, here's a question here. How do you manage change or fear of uncertainty while trying to leave the comfort in your zone? How do you manage the change and fear? Okay.
Perfect question. That leads to, so I gave you comfort, curiosity, and game changer. It's the curiosity part. You see, curiosity allows you to ask questions in the moment of the comfort, in the moment of that fear that has caused you not to do things. And so if you have a fear of what if when I make that sales call, when I make that customer that call, and what if they tell me no? Well, you're going to be curious and say, well, what if they say yes, and they provide me with different other services that I can provide, or opportunities to offer other services, right? Whatever change that even you may be happening in life is, how can I be curious in this moment? It doesn't feel good, so I'm starting to feel some of that discomfort. What questions can I ask myself so that way I stay present in the process, but I'm staying engaged to the point where I can creatively think clearly?
Wow. Yeah. No, that's good. Staying present in the process, but being sure you can think clearly. That's good. Ala Tunji, I hope that helps. If you have a follow-up question, you can feel free to pop it in the chat. Steve said limited belief is he always faces that thing, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs face. Hey, somebody's doing it already and trying to break that mentality. I know you've been there, Kenston, right?
Yeah. There's over in my National Speakers Association, there's over 5,000 speakers speaking on everything underneath the sun. They're speaking on all the topics that I speak on. But the last time I checked, no one has my DNA. No one has my DNA. No one has my life experiences. No one has my same background. No one can do it the way I do it because I'm wonderfully and uniquely made. So you may have a similar product to other people, but you deliver it differently.
Wow.
And
I like
that's
that.
that's having that understanding, that's having that knowing who you are. And a self-leader is someone who has a sense of who they are, what they can do, coupled with the ability to be able to influence themselves. And so, do you know who you are? And once you know who you are, once you know the services that you offer, once you know your unique superpower, then you'll be you'll do very well. Do very well.
That's good. Douglas has one as well. How did you overcome? I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any. Douglas has one. How did you? Oh, I see yours too, Chaz. How did you overcome comparing yourself to others, to what others have accomplished, and not feeling equal to others? How did you overcome that
Yeah.
insecurity?
Yeah. So so I'm the youngest of 7 children. Okay. So I'm the youngest. And so people say you're the baby, Kenston, and you got spoiled. And I said, no, I just observed and I learned from all of my siblings' mistakes. So I learned what not to do. Why would I want to get in trouble for the same thing they got in trouble for? Right. And so I'm a student, even as an adult, and as I'm around other speakers and trainers, even preachers and ministers, that I take, I analyze, I look at, I observe of what they do really well, not to critique them, but what they do really well. And I add that to my tool belt if I can. Or it looks like me going to them and say, hey, can you mentor me? Like I just joined the National Speakers Association this year, and I immediately was like, hey, I need a mentor. Now I've been in HR for over 20 years. I've been training for over, a lot of years in speaking. But I said, no, I wanted to learn. Still more to learn and develop it. And so I didn't have that mentality of comparing myself to anyone, because again, I had to understand that I'm uniquely made. So
Yeah. So you're saying, so should we as entrepreneurs come to that understanding of our uniqueness, and how do we, if someone is struggling with that, because I know I've had struggled with comparison a lot in my life,
yeah,
and so, what does someone do what are some practical things we can do to actually see that we're uniquely made and can stop that comparison?
so I'm gonna go back to who are you talking to? Who are you surrounding yourself with that is giving you
Mm,
the positive talk instead of the negative talk?
mm,
That you
mm,
don't who gives you the freedom to say, no, be yourself. Don't be like anybody else. I can easily say someone called me the next Les Brown speaker. That's what they said. They call me Les Brown. I said, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's an honor. However, I'm Kenston Henderson. I'm different,
mm. Yeah, yeah.
right? And but again, I think a lot of it starts with that mindset of what am I telling myself? What am I filling what information am I filling my mind with? So that way I stay in the vein of I'm my own unique self.
Yeah.
I'm a game changer. Like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I show up, I change the game, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and again, it goes back to who are you supporting yourself with? Chaz and Rob, the amazing people who will help you get right. So if you need to schedule a
Mm-hmm.
meeting, get with them because uh, it really is. It comes down to what are you purposed here to do on this earth? How can
Mm-hmm.
we get you there, and how you know can you stay there? So it's
Yeah.
not a lot of negativity around that.
Yeah. Something you said about, learning from, like like your siblings and learning from other people. I'm the youngest of 9, so it's the same thing. All my siblings think I'm
Yeah.
like the golden child that's just like
Uh-huh.
whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm just like, I saw what y'all did and I wasn't going to do that because I didn't want my butt whooped. Like, no, I'm good. And so thinking about that,
Makes sense.
it's almost like healing, like you took yourself through a process of growth, development, and healing by observation. So I think that's so key for individuals, entrepreneurs, and different things, that for that healing and that mental, emotional, all of that health
Yeah.
is a part
Yeah.
of it. You know what I mean? Because if
Yes.
you're trying to ignite and inspire others, but you do have these parts in you that are still fragmented, you know what I mean? It doesn't convey as it needs to. So can you talk a little bit about your own personal healing journey of growth to actually be able to
Yeah.
convey like you do? Because you inspire hundreds to
Yeah.
actually, you impact the world now. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So, you know, there's one time in life, and this is a personal life experience of going through a divorce, right? That impacted my life. And even in this journey of entrepreneurship, that took place at the very beginning. And so getting back to sound uh, and strong me, because I had lost myself during that battle of divorce, that again, I can't say it again of if I'm doing life alone, I'm doing it all wrong. And so, but the practicality of it was, strengthening my faith was super key. You know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. There's a scripture, and those who eat of it will reap of its fruit. So being very intentional with my words was how I started to heal, and started to get stronger, right? And again, but it's around surrounding myself with the right people to be able to that will be speaking into my life and the healing process. Also, it came down to getting counseling to heal in that process. And so getting to the point of being rock solid that now that I have an amazing wife that's holds me down, that is super crucial to even my health and mental health, emotional health to this day, because I know she cares for me, she prays for me, she's inspiring me as well as anything else. And so that is super key. And again, I think groups like Noble is essential to your healing day to day, so that you don't go crazy being an entrepreneur or small business owner, because it can get a little overwhelming. But you may just be at a stagnant point where you need that extra boost to say, okay, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do something extra today. I'm going to make extra 5 calls today. And um, I'm in a mastermind group right now, and it's called a $1 Million Mastermind Group through my speaker associations, and we're reading a book called Think and Grow Rich. How many anybody read that book, Think and Grow Rich? Okay, and so we are diving deep into this book, um, and it's really about mindset. That's what it comes down to. And I know you asked about healing, and so those are kind of my 4 applicable things for you to do to really stay in that good space emotionally, and mentally, because it's going to take that and much more. But in this mastermind group, if you've ever been a part of a mastermind group before, where again it's a bunch of people that's on the same journey as you, and you're just encouraging each other while you're diving in this book, to be able to get to that next level where you want to go. It's necessary. And we're all going through something different in our personal lives and in our business lives. But
Yeah,
again, having this group around you, having accountability partners, we need to touch on that, but having accountability partners is essential
yeah.
to go into the next level. So hopefully I answered that in
Okay.
some form or fashion.
No, you definitely did, and I hope we take away some of those things. Our mental, emotional, and spiritual growth is so important to anything that we do. I want we're going to shift a little bit because we're almost at the end of our time. But one thing that I do want us to do is that write down 2 people that are assigned to your community. I want you to write it down. I really found the power of writing things down years ago. There was one year that I set goals for myself, and it was actually in 2020 when my dad died. But I wrote all my goals down in December before the year started, and I will tell you, at the end of 2020, most of my goals were still accomplished. Though I was dealing with my father's death, I was dealing with my mom in the hospital, all these different things. So there's a
Yeah.
power in actually writing things down. So these nuggets that Kenston is giving us, let's write down who are 1 to 2 individuals in our community that we know are assigned to help encourage us and be like-minded. Kenston, just two other things for you while we have you. I know Chad said he still has a fear of giving up control from important responsibilities. So I'm sure you can
Mm.
speak to that. And then also, Alad Tunji says, what is your take on emerging AI revolution and the fear of leaving one's comfort and the uncertainty of future work? Wow, that's deep. So,
That's real deep.
so I'm not
I
sure if we
got
can
you.
get to that one today, but
That's offline talk. That's offline talk.
Right,
Um,
right.
but as far as the fear of giving up control, and see, here's the thing: you got to think about it the opposite way, though. What is the result that you want to have by giving up the control? What are the benefits if you give up that control? Now I know it could be if it's your baby, you trying to hold on to it, right? Like I'm trying to let some things go, like social media. I'm trying to let all that go. But I've cultivated a little bit more in my business now, where I know it's going to be tough to give that up when it's time. But I know I need to give it up because it frees me up to do what I really want to do, which is speaking and training.
Mm,
So do
mm.
the benefits outweigh
Wow.
the cons?
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
as a result of you holding on to it, what is that doing for you?
Mm, mm, mm.
What is that
That's
doing for you? Is that holding you back? Are you not able to get to other things? Are you able not to progress and move forward? But I get that small
mm,
fear, but again, it's false evidence appearing real. It's very
mm-hmm.
real. However, it's a chance. Like everything else in life, it's a chance that we
Yeah.
take. However,
Yeah.
we do things to minimize risk, like interviews, right? And it might be multiple interviews. It might be an assessment that's given that to where they can showcase to you that they are capable of doing the work
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
before extending the offer.
Yeah. That's
Hopefully
good.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's, that's important and something that just I thought of something in my mind. How many of us, even on this call, want to pose this question? If somebody was to ask you today, what is your skill set? How many of us could actually just say, boom, this is what it is, or be able to hand them a document, boom, this is what it is. I think that prompted another thing. Like we have to, you know how the Bible says we have to be always ready to answer and give an answer for the hope that lies in us. Well, how many of us are able to give an answer for what lies in us? And so, so I think that's important. The other question about the AI revolution and the fears, Kenston, you might want to take that one offline. I don't know. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
able to get all in, but I'm pretty sure you have some thoughts about AI and how we can actually utilize that, or maybe not
Oh
utilize
yeah.
it. So,
Yeah. So for yeah, I would say for me quickly, as far as
yeah,
AI and how I use it, it's all for the good. It's a powerful tool that can be used if the right person is using it. For example, I'm not a writer and I do video scripts for my social media. That's a game changer. My emails that I send out to my clients and customers and potential customers, game changer. Because
yeah,
now I don't have to rack my brain as much as I used to, and or not do it at all. So I went from not doing it at all to now I'm being consistent with those touches. And that's a
yeah,
game changer for entrepreneurs or small business owners.
yeah. Yeah. So don't be afraid of it, in other words. Utilize it where you can, but still add the
Right.
personal part, the personal touch, because you're still you.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so yeah, so that's really good. Well, just I want to we're about to wrap up here. And so Kenston, we just want to say thank you so much. Any final
Thank
thoughts
you.
you want to leave us with? Anything you want to say to us as we wrap up?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to encourage you. My favorite scripture is John 10:10. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but God came that we may have life and that more abundantly. And so we are, as believers, if you are a believer on this call, we are supposed to be living an abundant life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Peace, joy, love, success in our business. We're supposed to be living this life. And so whatever you need to do to get over the false evidence appearing real fear, we need to go ahead and do
Yeah,
it and increase your faith and keep rising. And I changed the R to rejoice too. So keep rejoicing, keep
yeah.
celebrating because you're going forward.
I love that. Thank you so much. Can you tell us how we can get your books and how we can connect with you for further
Yep. So
correspondence?
everything is on my website, livewithlife.com, and all of my social media platforms are on there. And but yeah, would love to connect with you all. I'm on LinkedIn, all the social medias, TikTok, everything.
Yeah. That's one of the things I got to get. My LinkedIn is old.
I
All right.
got you.
Well, thank.
There's people.
Listen, I'll be reaching out, kids, and I might just be reaching out. But thank you, guys. Thank you so much for. Did you guys enjoy that today? If you did, just say I'm blessed. I enjoyed it. It's amazing. Clap your hands, do your dance, whatever you want to do. But we really do appreciate it. I'm just gonna make a couple announcements, and I'm gonna turn it over to Jeff for today. Make sure you guys connect with Kenston. We do have a couple forums coming up on every second Thursday and fourth Tuesday of the month. And Tuesday, November 28th is Renee Bador. I think we all know her. Run Your Business and Life to Win. She also has a book out. She's a coach, a speaker, author, etc. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we join in for that. And then also we have the live and hybrid 9:30 to 11:30 at Oasis City with John D. Hanson, Conquering Stress. Woo, we probably all need that one. When your hair is on fire, I'll bring the fire extinguisher, is what he says. So let's make sure that we join in for that one as well. And then Jeff, are you on? I'm gonna turn it over to you now, so that way you can give an announcement about these QR codes and the email.
Yep, I'm on. Thank you, Kenston, for that. How many of you are just blessed for what Noble is providing for us? Like, there's no better time, I think, than now for an organization like Noble, who is faith-based, who wants to honor God in everything they do. They want to help develop and create leaders and business owners who love Jesus and are doing great things for the kingdom. And I love these events. And so, yeah, it's awesome. We have some ways for you guys to connect with us. If you want more information about Noble, the first QR code there, you can scan that. That's the website you can go to learn about upcoming events. Make sure that you connect with us on LinkedIn as well. And I don't have control of the slides. If you could, can you advance it once for me? Yeah, there we go. We're also on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this yet or not, but we are actually putting these sessions up on YouTube as they happen. So if you want to go back and listen to any of them, go over there, subscribe to the YouTube channel and share out the content, but make sure you go over there. The last thing I want to highlight too is, so a couple of months ago, I started writing some emails, just inspirational, motivational emails that go out 3 times a week. I try to keep them very short, but very impactful, very practical. So if you haven't signed up for that yet and you just want that extra, yeah, thank you, Steve. If you want that extra motivation that just keeps you going and gets you grounded in faith, then I encourage you to go to the QR code there, or you can go to the link and make sure that you sign up for the email. Again, it goes out 3 times a week, and I try to keep it short. I know everybody's busy, but it's been very helpful and motivational to people, the feedback I've been getting. So that kind of wraps up that. One thing I do want to do is, if you can stop, yeah, there, thanks. I want to get a screenshot of all of us, if you don't mind, and we're actually going to put it up on the Noble website. So if everybody's okay with that, give me an okay. If you're okay with it being taken and you're okay with me putting it up on the website, awesome. I didn't think anybody would not want that. So I'm gonna count to 3, and if everybody could give a nice big smile, that would be amazing. All right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, good job, guys. Thank you for doing that. That's all I have. Be sure to attend. We have some amazing speakers coming up. I'm excited about them all, and I hope you are too. But I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you either in person or on the next call.
Thank you guys so much. You have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.